I've learned that if you want to affect organizational change and transformation, you need someone powerful in your corner. I gave a presentation to the International Society for Performance Improvement, ISPI, at their annual Cracker Barrel in Charlotte. Several people joined in the conversation and shared their insights on what they believe it takes in order to win together with executives. So I'd like to share with you at now the results of that meeting. First is that we should start with understanding the default communication style of the person we're working with and make sure that our approach resonates. Obviously, a scoping document, a contract to agree, and ensure that we sustain. They have enough information to make a decision, and we celebrate the results, the learning as well. So I asked a question. I presented this to a business unit president. What do you think went through that person's mind? And the answer was, of course, confusion. And that's because business leaders are taught by business schools to think linearly. A nonlinear systems thinker will not resonate using that approach. You have to modify your approach. So, how do you understand a little bit more about the person you're going to meet with? The bird analogy really works well. So, think about them. Which one of these birds do you think is their default communication behavior style? It turns out that this follows the DISC model, one for one, in that eagle is striving for results and getting it done. The dove is after building harmony and support in the organization. The owl is after tons and tons of data to make a decision, and the parrot is after influencing others through their encouragement and enthusiasm. Where trust seems to break down is in the diagonals, that is between the eagle and the dove. And we say that the eagle eats the dove for breakfast and never get in the way of the eagle's drive for results. Same with the owl and the parrot. The owl wants the data and will be seen by the parrot as paralysis by analysis, whereas the owl will think about the parrot as, wow, you're a fly by night. And so it takes an effort and energy to build trust between them, and it's easy to break that down. So we asked some questions. What do you think of the key sponsorships, roles, and so on? And we got tons of results, and I want to share those now. We talked about tolerating mistakes and actually celebrating them, being on the same page, and removing roadblocks as some of the key sponsorship behaviors. Obviously, providing that sense of purpose and urgency. The ego style seems to be the default method of communication. It makes sense because we want to promote people who get the job done. And what we can do to help them understand. So one of the participants mentioned that she learned a technique of executive summary and where it came from. And it came from the battlefield. A general needed to make a decision quickly, so she would take a 70-page report, boil it down to one page, and have all the information the general needed to make a decision and give it to them. So that's what the executive summary is. And then get them to relax by putting in the agenda time for questions and answers. That way the executive's not asking questions the whole time and allow you to get through your content that you might get to later. Obviously, sending a summary right before the meeting. If you send it 2 days before, they'll just lose it. But if you send it 2 hours before or an hour before, they'll appreciate it because their mind will be around it and they'll be prepared for your meeting. And then executive presence is about preparing in advance and being able to back it up with data. We talked about celebrating successes and emphasizing the benefits, scorecards, and one person meets twice a week, whereas I always suggest follow-up Fridays, but some way to bring the problems to the surface and as well as the progress. One way to get there is to begin with the end in mind, like Covey says. And a game plan initiative or a scoping document like this might help. Identifying and articulating the specific criteria for success and where we are today, as well as where we want to get to. Articulate the compelling reason for change and get their input on it. This comes right from Cotter, John P. Cotter. Strengths-based thinking. What strengths do we have that we can leverage? And then what are the opportunities that we need to look for in the future? What's changing in the landscape? We don't want to become the next Blockbuster and be out of business. So then we talk about the aspirations. Where do we want to get to? And the results, plans, and deliverables, the rational plan that'll get us there. And then building in the learning milestones, how we celebrate the learning and share what we learn as we go. And that was basically what we covered in 20 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to share some of these tools if you'd like, or just connect with me on the LinkedIn if you'd like. Hope to hear from you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.